Chad formerly wanted to create Jogo, like create a full studio. He reached out to Andre and was like, yo, like, let's do this thing together. You know, we could use some of your influence. We can use my professionalism and understanding of the space to make something really magical. No matter what your feelings are about the current state of Discovery, our critiques have been pretty strong. That's not at a place where we want it to be.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Creative Callouts. I'm your host Giggila, and today I am joined by Jogo's lead game designer and talented UEFN creator who's been around for ages. It's SquatingDog.
You calling me old? At the beginning of the podcast? Oh my gosh. No, I'm just kidding. I'm kidding. I'm glad to be here, man. This is going to be a lot of fun.
It's absolutely amazing.
We've been trying to set this up for a while. And I think, I don't know, you could probably speak to this. I might have been the hardest person to wrangle into a call with you. And I want to just formally say, I'm sorry. It's been crazy out here. A lot going on.
I think I've been trying to get you on to this pod since February last year.
No, don't say
it was.
When you say it like that, it sounds
back
so
in
bad.
season 2 of Creative Callouts, before even it joined Genesis and all of this. So
I'm so sorry. I will make it up to you somehow. I don't know how, but I will. I will make up.
Ooh. But no, it's absolutely amazing to have you on for Clean Slate, obviously, with recently joining into Genesis. So thank you, Genesis, for acquiring. I mean, I say acquiring. I am one of the people who is leading Genesis, and I acquired it myself.
Nice.
So I bought myself out.
Genius. Yeah.
It's a great,
huge move.
Yeah. Huge, big business plays, you know.
Yeah.
Great planning about everything. But it's absolutely amazing. And I'm so happy to finally have you on, because it's been a long time coming as well. And hopefully I won't call you old later in the episode. So, well, I mean, let's just jump straight into things. Obviously, I think the biggest thing you've got going on right now is Jogo and how amazing that's all going. So, how did you all start with Jogo?
Yeah, so, I mean, pretty much like was a string of conversations between me and Andre and Chad Mustard. Essentially, like we both me and Andre, when UEFN came out, both started making maps. And I was streaming my process, which my process was really bad. So I used feedback from people in chat to kind of like help me understand mechanics that I just didn't know about. And Andre would come into my chat and go, dude, I can't figure this thing out. Or like we would just exchange notes. And so when Typical Gamer started releasing maps, I started releasing maps about the same time. And we both had an affinity for like little small worlds where you're like a little person in a really big room. Because we both played Counter-Strike, and there's like a classic map called Rats, DE Rats. And we both loved it. And so we both tried our attempt at that. And both of those maps did really, really well. And so, you know, we brushed a lot of shoulders there. And then Chad formally wanted to create Jogo, like create a full studio. So he reached out to Andre and was like, yo, like, let's do this thing together. You know, we could use some of your influence. We can use my like professionalism and understanding of the space. We can make something really magical. And so we ended up naturally having conversations, and they were like, hey, can we bring you on, you know, and you want to help us build this thing together? So I think I was like number 4 or 5. I think they had another engineer, and then Mark was a part of it at the time. And so the 5 of us kind of put our brains together and started building the studio. Now we're, you know, around 20 employees, and we're working with some really cool people. Like, unfortunately, I can't, like, I'm under NDA on some of these things, but we have some really cool things down the pipeline that are coming. We're working on some incredible projects that, like, you don't see, you know, at face value, but are coming soon. So it's really cool. UEFN has expanded quite a bit. You know, the tool needs a lot of growth. It's in its infancy, as we all know, but like very excited for the future of the space and like what we can creatively build inside of Fortnite.
Yeah, I mean, I think when I first heard of your name was a slight bit of a callback, but the Power Summer Splash callouts.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yep.
You got first place in that one, and two of my friends got third and second.
Oh, nice.
So
nice.
I looked at obviously the list of people, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, they've got a decent chance. I saw your map and went, God damn it, there's first place. I was like, oh. But no, we all had to play through it and everything. So obviously, I can't remember the name of that map, but I know it was, there was lucky blocks. You would go around fighting areas, all that type of stuff. That was
it was like a water park.
UEFN.
Yeah, it was so fun. Like so I've always just loved water parks, right? Like my whole life. I still do. Like if I could get myself a Mai Tai in a lazy river at any point in time, I'm dropping what I'm doing to do that. And so I was like, I've always wanted a water park POI in Fortnite, like an abandoned one, a normal one, doesn't matter. Like it would be super cool. And I pitched it, like I put it on Reddit, like I think a few years ago. It got a ton of likes, and I was like, dude, like this would be so cool. And then, with UEFN now, it's like, well, build it. So I did. I was like, I'm going to build the thing that I want in the game. And sure enough, had a lot of popularity around it, which is great. So I think that's part of the magic of UEFN is like, if you think Epic's not building something that they should, you can just do it yourself now, and it will pay off if you nail it, right? If people like catch that vision and are excited about that product.
Yeah, I think the biggest take of us looking at something Epic's done and then doing it in our own way is obviously all of our events we've done for Genesis.
Yep.
Obviously, Fracture was our biggest first hits, and taking what they did with Fracture and making it, I think it's the better version. I'm not saying anything against Epic. I'm not discrediting you, Epic, but obviously we had a massive amount of community reaction to that, and obviously we were also then fortunate to be able to make Skyfire as well on top of that, and now working on Big Bang, which will complete the trilogy.
That's
of
exciting.
Our story and everything. But obviously we're not the only ones to dabble in our own live events, as you also did the XXX event in your Red versus Blue. Well, I know it's under Typical Gamers, I believe. But you had the highest CCU for a event ever.
Yes.
We were the one holding that before.
I'm so sorry. Well, we gotta be in these situations that constantly set the bar, right? Like, I think like I get so excited about whatever limitation I have, like, and trying to be competitive in that space. So I love that what you guys have done. Like, I love what you guys are doing. Like, you guys are an incredible studio, building incredible experiences and really leaning into the desire that players have that I think Fortnite has abandoned in a lot of ways, of like, live events rule. People love story, and you guys are delivering that in a way that the Fortnite audience really wants. So it makes total sense what you guys are doing, and I commend you guys all for sticking with that, because I think it's a powerful storytelling is a powerful tool. And I think like Fortnite has lost its luster in terms of its story quite a bit, and you guys are delivering on a need that the community has. And so when you guys started setting some of those records, we're like, that's kind of cool. Like we always wanted to build live events. We dabbled in it. Like we did a Pumpkin King one to kind of test the waters, and that did really well. And so then we're like, okay, well, let's find an artist that Fortnite is missing out on picking for themselves. Some artists have different backgrounds or whatnot, and some go through, some don't. All of them are trying to get their own emote in the game and all that good stuff. And we're like, well, let's just see what we could do with an artist that we believe the player would want to experience and be a part of. And so, X was a perfect candidate. His team was willing, and I storyboarded the whole thing and pitched it to them. It's like, hey, how does this feel? Obviously, you have to be very careful with somebody that has passed, and like how you navigate that, how you display that, and whatnot. So we actually had a call with X's whole family to kind of see how he looked and how the concert felt, and wanted to make sure that approval landed well, and we were blown away, at the results. Like, People aren't tapping into live events very well. There's a lot of work, obviously, that goes into it. Like,
Oh,
I
yeah.
think everybody that was a part of this project wanted to quit various times because of just how the demand, especially because we did that entire event in under a month, which is like
Yes,
insane.
I saw the original. One of the posts had the starting date, and it was like April 14th, I want to
Yeah,
say.
yeah.
And it came out May 31st,
Mm-hmm.
I think it was. So that is just, it's around like 6 weeks, which is amazing for a turnaround for an event.
Yeah,
It was about 5-6 minutes, which is pretty good as well for what it was as well. And obviously to have his music in it as well to showcase obviously his side of things. You had a massive rift in the sky, bringing obviously the triple X's initially to start, and then obviously showcasing him. So we all had a watch of that as well, because obviously being the only other team to really do live events at that kind of scale before, and as soon as someone else stepped up, we were like, okay, so what are they going to do? What's
yeah.
different? What can we take notes on? So, but
What was
yes,
your gut reaction out of curiosity? Like, I'm kind of curious of your like reaction or thoughts. Obviously, your live events are kind of more story driven. Ours was like, showing off an artist and
yeah,
like how incredible they are. Two different like venues, if you will, or genres. But like, I'm kind of curious. Like, how did your team react to it?
it was decently positive. I think obviously our main, well, our chief technical officer was the one most critical because he picks apart
Sure.
his entire events. He will look back at his events and he will pick it to pieces.
Yeah, yeah.
So he's just looking for every single thing that can be worked on ever.
Mm-hmm.
But overall, it was generally positive because we were looking at things like, okay, so this is where you bring in this. Okay, so maybe this could be changed, or that would have been beneficial if, say, the camera did it on this way, or
Right.
just to get that massive amounts of proper attention. Because I think one of the main parts that made us interested was bringing actually those X's in.
Yep.
That was one of our first initial reactions, like, oh, that is actually cool to bring those in. And they were like speaker based, they look like.
Yeah.
So
Like
they
X
were actually
speakers.
really good to see. And I think the main critique was actually what was going on outside of the concert.
Right.
So obviously you've got him up there in the back, but you can't actually get the full body experience of him because it's half covered.
Absolutely.
So you have to either be somehow like, I don't know how tall the map is, but you have to be way taller to actually see the full character. So you're actually missing half of the physical motions in it.
Mm-hmm.
Obviously, you still had a lot of kind of in storytelling where you had kind of demon type of things. I don't know exactly what you
We
call
called
them.
them echoes. Yeah.
Echoes, yeah.
Like kind of intrusive thoughts that
Yeah.
like kind of take over your internal headspace.
Yeah, so you had those show up, which was very cool just to give the visualization of those type of things. So that was a massive good part. But I think, yeah, our main critique was having it partially blocked. Because
Yeah, we had debated a lot because there's a point where he smashes open the wall in one of the songs. And that was like that's the hardest part with our map, right? Was like at the time, like in building it, we were over memory by I think like 68,000. Like, so we were way over like memory, and we had to do a lot of magic just to get it under. So the tiles themselves were actually a really big problem. Not only because the players are inside this like dome, right, which is good for a concert venue if they're with you. But we wanted him to be bigger and more, exciting than just like, a shrunken version. So we actually wanted to break the wall earlier. We played around with a lot of different times, but like a big hit moment, we wanted to kind of like demonstrate it. But you're right, like that, and that's a very good critique because red versus blue isn't the perfect like genre for these types of live events. But we could at least tell the artist like, hey, we've got a CCU that you can rely on and trust. And I think a lot of times what we struggle with is seeing live event maps that are just its own core entity I think like they like burn really hot really fast and then fall really fast too once you kind of quote unquote eat it up. And so we were playing around with like, do we do our own map or do we just put it on a map that we already have and try to like make it like work? So this was our attempt at doing that. I think we have a lot of curiosities about like even how you guys do it of like your own map, where I think like you have to kind of keep it going, you know, like here's another map and here's another map and here's another map and kind of like hope for that. But like the replayability and stuff like that, I like we struggled to see the benefit of that at the time, and we wanted it to be like, this is the only place and the only moment in time that you can participate in it. You can never participate in it again. And to that type of hype, I think draws players, because that's what Fortnite players are used to. It's like, if I want to be in that live event, I got to be there at that specific time. And servers die and all that stuff because of how much people want to cram themselves into that experience. So we wanted to attempt that. And I think like the payout was really beneficial, but they don't get the luxury of being able to go back and experience something wonderful. Like, you know, imagine spending all this time on something and then that's it, you know, like our artist that kind of did a lot of the animation was just like, that's it. It's like it was a one-time thing. And that's a hard thing to wrestle with, of like the value of like, do you keep something that stays permanently that you can always re-experience, or were you there when you were there? And I think there's arguments for both sides of that.
Yeah, so obviously we keep our live events up. In fact, even our ones before our what we call our FNEU series, we keep all of our ones up because to us, we obviously announced it that the first ever time you can see this will be at an end of a timer at this specific moment to draw their attention in, because we had such amount of amazing hype around it to start, and obviously the build up and everything, just to build to that kind of crescendo part where you've got that shock kind of reaction to whatever happens. Obviously that is different because we're storytelling compared to, say, concerts, as concerts are more of that you got to be there type of thing. Whereas if you're doing something which is more story based, you like to go back on the story because then you can see what happened, and then when you get to that crescendo point, you're really catching on, because that's what we really want for Big Bang. Because now people have got so much backing knowledge to what we're doing, and also Fortnite's lore. So combining both of those into our what is now a two-parter live event, which will be the first ever time a two-parter has been done. So,
and you're building on all that momentum, right? Like you're creating a story that people are invested in now. If they've experienced those other two maps, there's now even a higher, I think, expectation of like what you have to offer, but also of player count and people going into the experience. So I love watching what you guys are doing, because like I think like over the course of time, it's kind of like a YouTube channel that like releases a really good video, and then you don't know if you want to subscribe or not, but you experience the video, and then the second video comes out, it's now in your feed, and you're like, okay, like I'm gonna subscribe to this guy, you know, like this is kind of cool. And like I feel like that momentum eventually, it's like could lead itself to become a thing that is viral every time you guys create one, right? Like that could be the potentiality of like the decisions that you guys are making, and it'll be really cool to see over the course of time the evolution of that, and kind of like each of these video or each of these games, you're growing on the skill set of what you're building, and you're improving upon the product every time, and it's becoming better and better because the expectations are rising and the skill set that you guys are doing to build things are rising. So it's nothing but like exciting things, and I hope that you guys influence the space more. I would love to see more of this type of content inside of UEFN. So hopefully you guys are inspiring much other people to also participate in these types of things as well. Because we need more in the space, I think.
I mean, I know both of our respective events have been mentioned by Epic. You got yours mentioned at Unreal Fest on stage, and we got kind of subtly mentioned also on that stage as well, not by name, but then we've also had Epic use our stuff at UGC. And they're also wanting to kind of showcase just more of what we can do, because we have lovely people that we talk to from Epic, and they're absolutely amazing. So whenever we kind of have questions or queries about something, we go to them because they're normally pretty good. Unless they're on summer break, then we don't see them for 5 years. But other than that, they're absolutely amazing to work with. And I mean, obviously, Epic has its highs and lows and everything, and they constantly break UEFN and all the stuff. It seems they halted all of our work for like a month because when they broke the data layers.
Oh yeah, yep.
Back in summer, so we could not work at all on any of the data layers that we had. So
Right.
Big Bang got halted, Operation Infiltration got halted, everything got halted but the Squid Game map in our entire studio, which is a real massive hit.
Yeah, big time.
So we're very thankful that the Squid Game is doing so well and it's so well received, constantly getting up to that top 5 UEFN maps. Each day it's kind of in there, which is absolutely incredible to see. So we're very thankful for that, obviously, just to be able to be in that type of space. But obviously, there's so much that goes on in the ecosystem where you're constantly fighting for just everyone's spot. And
Yep.
I think every single map studio team always has to deal with that. So obviously, I'm assuming you guys have had your thoughts behind all of the discoveries. Obviously, they're changing stuff every 3 months, it seems, or updating things. But I mean, hey, you've even got to kind of speak on, I think it was the State of Discovery on a Let's Talk on the actual Epic stream. So how was all that as well?
Yeah, it's great. I mean, I think like no matter what your feelings are about the current state of Discovery or like how you feel like UEFN as a whole is, I think, our critiques have been pretty strong that it's not at a place where we want it to be. And we're more on the discouraged side than the encouraged side in terms of what we can actually do with the product.
Yes.
But despite all of those feelings and the state, the people that work on the product are incredible. And they care much more than we do about its success as well. I don't think they feel the residual impacts as much as we do, but they do feel us, frustrated. And I've never met a team that can be so consistently trying to make it better and so humble about hearing that feedback from frustrated people, balance that so well. And so I can't speak higher of Sax and his team and the people that are trying to figure it out and make it make sense. With that in mind, it doesn't mean I'm stoked on, where we currently are, but we have to see, I just recently had a child. His name is Jones, and he's 1. And I can't expect Jones to run a half marathon, right? But that is some of the expectations we have of UEFN as a product. It's I should be able to run a half marathon with this. It's this thing has been around for only a few years, and of course they have the backing of Unreal. But the whole idea of this is Unreal 6 is, coming together with UEFN to create their own version, of what Unreal will be eventually. And so there's a little bit of this merging together, but there's the expectations of what it can do somewhere else. Grass is greener on that side. But then we know the impact of Fortnite and the players of Fortnite, where they currently are. And we just want both of those things at the same time. Which is, I think, a natural and good thing our community wants, and hopefully puts enough pressure on Epic Games to kind of give the right resources in the right places to make that vision happen. But we can't force a baby, into a marathon without it naturally needing to grow and strengthen themselves and train itself up to be where we want it to be. And so I think a lot of us maybe are in this space a little too early, to where we feel that pain. And might need to take a break and pull back. or you know, you got to roll with the punches and have your map get, or have 3 of your projects shut down because Epic broke something. Like, hopefully all of those breaking of things means that the foundation is settling to be more stronger and not something that is like, you know, going to reverse hurt us like forever. But I do envy the day that Fortnite itself as like an entity and UEFN are not so closely connected to where when a change happens here, it hurts on the other side. Like recently, Siphon just got destroyed. And one of our maps that uses Siphon, it was just like, why should I play this game if I can't Siphon? And that was a big hit to that specific map. And so, yeah, I envy the day that they're not connected, because I think we will benefit greatly to be able to control the things that we need to control on our end.
Yeah, I mean, obviously there's a lot going on behind closed doors that none of us know about, with Epic trying to fix everything or making changes, developments, and just hoping that what they can make is just going to be the best engine at the end. But obviously we're still in the process. We're in the 3rd year of it being around, I think it is, because it came out 23. Yeah, 23. And we're in the 3rd year of it. So it's still in its infant years of obviously its development and everything. And while we would love for it to run the half marathon, we would, obviously, it is still early-ish days for it. Obviously, it's not got as many years as an industry, say, like Roblox with their map development or other related kind of engines. But obviously, they do obviously have the backing of Unreal and everything there. But making it in Fortnite is a lot different.
Totally.
So there is going to be loads of kind of, you know, learning and the first steps for everything. And it is so cool to now see so many creators taking that first step and making their first steps in kind of UEFN. Because like having finally Epic beaten in their #1 spot in the kind of, obviously it doesn't stay that way, because they always, they're like William Afton. They always come back to that #1 spot. It's inevitable.
Currently, you know, that's my #1 goal. I mean, honestly, that was my goal from the beginning, is to see if Epic Games can bleed, right? Like, and we took that spot from them for the first time ever, and that is like huge, huge, because now we know the god could bleed, so to speak, right?
Yeah,
we can get there, right? And we've got 100K memory limit. They don't, you know, like we have limitations that are put upon us, but that does not mean we cannot take those spots. And that is everything that I want to do in this role, is to accomplish that. That is my #1 goal, is to have an entity, a game that players love more than they love BR. Like, that's an exciting thing to shoot after and to find. And for us to do that, we have to know who our player audience, what our player audience is, you know, like who they are, what they love, why they love it, and make something that is really exciting, that is different than maybe what they're used to. And I think until either the tools arise to where we can be on a more like I don't know, fair ground, like, or foundation, or we really find a game loop that is so satisfactory to the player base to where they want to come back over some of these other experiences, it will be someone in our community that will do it. And I'm so excited for that day, like, because I want us as a community to do that. And Epic wants us to do that, right? Like, that's the future of the space. And so I want to be the first person to do that. I mean, I'm already proud that we're the first person, like, team to like beat Epic, but I'm like more excited about constantly beating Epic, if that makes sense.
Yeah, not that there's an analogy for it, and obviously it will be certainly wrong. That's a battle. And obviously we're not fighting against Epic. No. Because Epic is actually providing us the resources. I think that'd be more of a rebellion at that point. But if I'm using the analogy of it is a battle in the long war of it, or the long standing of it, that's a first step for us. And to see creators do their firsts, either making their first map, their first CCU, their first payout, which is a massive thing for
Huge.
people in this day and age to have some sort of payout come into
Yep.
them, especially for the newer creators. Because whenever new creators come into the space, one of the main things is, oh, are people going to play it? Are people going to like it? What am I going to get out of it? Am I even going to see anything from it?
Mm-hmm.
Obviously nowadays we weigh that up because we've been around for quite a while and everything like that. And I'm not calling you old again. I'm also calling our team old. But it's just now the way of we've been around for years, and to be able to have the knowledge of to be able to ask these questions, or to even be able to just give like advice out. Because while I don't class myself as a full-on veteran, because I didn't start creative until later than most of my team.
Mm-hmm.
I only started in mid chapter 2, which is quite a fair bit later than most of my team. Most of them started at creative's beginning. So, but still, just to be able to give advice every now and again. Obviously, I'm more of an advice taker, but I mean, obviously, with your massive team, one thing I would love to ask all the people on here is, what is the best piece of advice you've received or given in this space?
I work with a wonderful individual named Ryan on our team. He was came in on as QA and then now does a lot of R&D stuff for us. So like we'll ask him to like, hey, is this even possible? You know, and he'll kind of like do an investigation on it. Really smart guy, really kind individual. And we talk a lot about bugs and problems and stuff. And I feel like for me, when something should work the way it's like the analogy I use is like if I'm building a shed, I need a hammer. And if you give me a banana as my hammer to build the shed is just not going to look like a shed, right? And so that tool, the hammer, should function like a hammer so that I can do the thing that I want to do. But many times it feels like I'm given a banana. And that is a very frustrating experience in UEFN in its infancy. And so I think like a quote that I have internalized through these hardships is fall in love with the problem. And I think like I am typically like frustrated at a problem. And I have to remind myself, no, let's like fall in love with the problem, because the more that you understand the problem and the issue, the more you can avoid it and the faster you can build and make things. And so if I'm getting thrown a banana, I know to throw that to the side because it's not going to be useful in building my shed. And so maybe that means I have to find a rock or something, you know, like and innovate on how that actually gets built. But I do think like falling in love with the problem allows a mental shift to happen that is really helpful in the space. And if you don't have that mental shift, I think you can just over time just get burnt out, frustrated, annoyed, and just want to call quits. But if you can fall in love with the problem itself, not that I think that should be how it is, you know, but it has helped me reframe how I build things inside of the space that is constantly moving and adjusting. There's a new target that's always readjusting itself somewhere else. For me to be savvy and to not want to lose my mind and pull out whatever hair I have left up here, I think it's all about falling in love with the issue so that it doesn't have to impact you or your team in the same way that it does that first time.
Yeah, I mean, that I've never heard of that analogy before. In my head, I imagined you holding Peely, but that's maybe just because of the amount of times I played Fortnite.
Bashing Peely, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. That I can see that not going well at all. So
for Peely or myself, yeah.
Yeah, I think Peely might end up worse in that situation. I have to be honest, because he's just a human banana,
right?
So, and if you've seen his driving before, you'll know that it's horrible.
Yeah.
I mean, that's not even part of our law, but that's just regular Fortnite law. I remember, what was it? Jonesy tried to teach him how to drive.
Yep, with the Meg season.
Yeah, and then we just referenced that saying Jones teaching Peely to drive was worse than him fighting the last reality. Which
Yep. How many times has he died in shorts? It's got to be up there in the teens, right? Because I remember him getting Hadoukened at one point in time.
Mm-hmm.
He got turned into a smoothie in one season. Like, I'm pretty sure he's been mutilated more than 10 times at this point.
It's got to be. I think that poor Peely I don't know how he's alive. He's been kidnapped. He's been in wars. He's fought people way out of his skill level. I don't even know. This man's just... I feel bad for him, honestly.
Yeah, 100%. Well, it's better than Fishstick in the comics.
Yes.
The Batman comics, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, where he gets... It's pretty gruesome how he dies.
All other people just die, like, instantaneously.
Yeah.
Oh, God, it was a slow death.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah. We've had to obviously read over all the comic stuff when we're referencing all of our story stuff. Obviously, I say we've got a lovely person called Timeless Order, and he does the lore book for Fortnite.gg.
Yep. So we used to work really close together on when Tommy was getting started on some of those. So I was part of that crew as well, where we like talk about the story and talk about what's going on and making sense of it all. And he is a genius when it comes to that stuff. So really cool.
Whenever we have a story-related question, we just at him and just say, so what is the actual answer?
He's like the oracle of like
the
space, you know what I mean?
So for one of the developments for Operation Infiltration, I won't say what we were specifically talking about because that's not being released yet, but we were going through one of the things and we were debating if one thing worked in the storyline for an hour straight.
Oh my gosh.
It was me and the other co-lead for the project, and we were just going back and forth like, what actually happens here? And then Marco joined the call, and it was done in 5 minutes.
Yeah.
We were just like...
It's like, you're both idiots. This is the way. And you guys are like,
one of our alternatives was right, but then again, we had like 10 alternatives. So we just got it by pure luck, probably.
Yeah.
But no. So... yeah, it's been an absolute pleasure just having you on. And to finally be able to get this podcast underway with you getting on for an episode, as I even announced you for the season 3 one, and that just kind of never happened.
It was a teaser, man. It was a really long teaser.
Long teaser. I think that's the longest teaser I've ever done. But obviously, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And so where can people find you, even though Jogo is as massive as it is, but where can people find you and what would you like them to know and maybe go do?
Yeah. I mean, like, so I've been in the space for a while. I made cheat sheets. I've made an app. I've worn a lot of hats in the Fortnite world. But SquatingDog is my tag name. It's with 1 T, no space. I'm sorry that I have misspelt that. It's something that will live with me for the rest of my life. But yeah, you can find me on all socials for the most part. And I have stopped making my own solo projects for the most part, just because of how heavily involved I am with Jogo. You could always follow me on, in Fortnite, but Jogo is the major focus of where my products are starting to be released. We have 3 different channels in which those you'll see my influence, which is like on Typical Gamers under his handle, Jogo itself, and then of course Jogo Labs is kind of like where we throw out like an experiment or two to see, is there any hype here or is there any value on the community? It's a way for us to gauge and understand like where the player base might be at. So if you follow any of those, I'd recommend doing that inside of the Fortnite inside of Fortnite, you'll be able to see some of the products that I have my creative influence over. And of course, you'll be able to stay up to date with some really cool things that we have planned. So I can't really speak too much on it, but the end of this year we'll have a massive project that will be coming out that's very exciting. And then we have like, we're kind of trying to switch models to kind of like a quicker iteration builds that we're just kind of like taking stabs and going fishing and go like trying new things and kind of game jamming a bunch of stuff. So Jogo Labs will kind of just produce a lot more content. And if those do well, then we'll graduate them to maybe a bigger, maybe Jogo proper or maybe typical gamer. But we just released a Super Bed Wars that came out just yesterday, which is really exciting. And then, yeah, we're kind of trying to try a bunch of different new things as well. So some of the typical roll your eyes at a red versus blue or maybe Bed Wars, but we've got a lot of innovative projects that we're also releasing simultaneously. They just don't gain as much traction, but we're trying a bunch of new things, and we're looking for a way to kind of like what I said at the beginning of this is like we're doing a lot of these things to test the player base, engage the player base, and it's setting the stage for bigger things. So it's kind of like mini games like bundled together to try out a bigger game that we have in our mind. And we don't want to make that big game flop. So we have to do these subtle games and tests to kind of like gauge, does the player base want this? So yeah, you can find me in any of those places on any of my socials, and I'd love to have a conversation or at least a DM. So feel free. I'm accessible, but also hard to get, as Gig probably can attest to, which I apologize for once again. But yeah, that's how you can reach me.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Go follow SquatingDog on all of his stuff, as I've been doing for ages. You also stream as well every now and again, whenever you can. They're absolutely fun to join into, especially if I get to eliminate you. That's a lot of fun as well.
Yeah.
So it's absolutely amazing. So yes. Well, thank you very much for coming on.
No, thank you. An absolute pleasure. Genuinely, this is a wonderful format. You're a lovely person, and I love what you guys are up to, and couldn't support you guys more. I really appreciate you guys pushing the envelope of what's capable inside of UEFN. You guys are doing it in different ways than most, and I hope that is highly rewarding. Love what has happened with Squid Game. I'm so glad for that success for you guys, and can't wait to see countless more in the future.
Yes, no, thank you very much, and hopefully this won't be the last time we're face-to-face as well, so I'm sure we'll try and get some more stuff as well outside of the podcasts.
I look forward to it.
It seems to take a year plus to sort it out, so hopefully it's less than then.
You guys got to start going to like Unreal Fest and some of those things. I think it would be good for you guys to see and engage with other creators, because it's a great place to kind of like touch point and hang out.
Yeah, most of our teams are you, so it's a little bit more tricky to get us out there, but one day we'll be there. Or if it ever comes to say, hey, my capital city, London, or if it comes any closer there, I'll be there. But hopefully one day we'll get over there. We'll get over to the seas. So
yeah.
But no, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you on. And thank you everyone for listening, and we will see you all later. Bye.